Necesitamos estampillas.
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Violent people.
Radio.
Hey folks, welcome to Violent People Radio episode... Are we on episode 11?
I think 10.
10. This, there we go. This is the, a very round number for Tanner to miss. I am one of your hosts, Sam, with as per usual, Dan Rice. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Can I announce that our guests are David Bixenspan and Joe Lanza? Or do you want to do that?
I would rather die. And Chris, how you doing?
I would die and go to heaven if my co-hosts were Joe Lanza and David Bixenspan.
And with us as a guest this week, because Tanner is on the self-proclaimed happiest place on Earth, and the designer of the Violent People logo, Ollie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, although if I was ever equated to David Bixenspan and or Joe Lanza, I think I would shoot myself right in the head and die and go to hell.
That's the property of equal values right there. You'd have to make that trade-off. Alright, so you have a reaction to Lanza and Bixenspan. Unfortunately, I have to ask, how old are you? As before we enter this episode, we're going to age you real quick.
24. Not to
24,
make
okay.
anybody here feel old, but yeah, 24.
It's okay. I'm still younger than the other two. So I've got that going for me.
Chris, what are you rocking here? How old are you?
I'm 29.
What are you rocking
okay.
is a crazy way to find out how old somebody is.
Yeah.
You said that like it's a turn of phrase. Like, what are you rocking? 34.
At first, I was like, maybe he heard me drinking my water. Maybe I took a really loud gulp.
We have a question for Wacky Line that is predicated on ageism, so I did want to make sure I knew everyone's digits before we got too deep into this episode.
I thought you were saying you had to be a certain age to be annoyed by Lanza and Bix, and I was like, I think it's all ages.
It's universal,
yeah,
of course. But it feels like Lanza has been off the internet for about close to a decade, it feels like. Feels like you have to be a certain age to know how big of a shithead he is. But me, I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just rooted in my belief system of him being a piece of shit. And Bixenspan, a man of high moral character, obviously, doing a 3-hour podcast with him, as you would expect.
If you are a man with those kind of morals, your best buddy's Joe Lanza and your favorite promotion's GCW. It's simple.
Why are you calling me out like this?
Oh man. What's Rich up to these days? That's all I'm wondering.
Can we talk about the bit that I think before this podcast existed, I convinced Tanner that I offered Bix $100 to be on it?
Yes.
Which is a 30-second Photoshop he was in. He's like, "Oh my god, why would you do that?"
Oh no, it was good though. I thought it was pretty compelling stuff you ripped off here.
I appreciate it.
That is something that I would imagine Bix would do.
The surprising news is that Bix would ask for 100 and not just 50.
That's so real. That's so real.
I was
Bix is getting a hot dog and a handshake.
Or bigger than Bix. I feel like that's pretty clear now. As far as just like morality and just like being generally cooler people. Which I could have guessed that going in, but always nice for confirmation. All right, well,
for Will, Bix, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here. That was good. Was that?
That was actually pretty good.
So, Alec, how many hot dogs could you eat in 10 minutes?
I thought we were free of this week.
Okay, so we're talking 4th of July contest rules, right?
Correct.
Because I am, even though I'm British, I am familiar with the concept. Thank you, Secret Bits, for catching me up on that one. God, that is quite the question. I was quite a gluttonous child, so probably more than I would probably give myself credit for. I'd probably shoot for modest. So 10 minutes, you say? A modest 15 to 20, probably.
Jesus, I don't think so. It's just like it's a good question to get to know you a little bit. No, yeah, I don't think you would get to 15 to 20. If I'm being honest with you, gotta tell it to you straight. I think we're all probably capping it at 10 to 12. I think that's a fair number for everyone on this call. But we're not Tanner, so there we go. Dan, I'm running low in the banter section here. Got anything fun in your life?
We besmirched some people in the wrestling media. Let's see. This is a crazy question because we're on episode 10, so I should know this. Chris, where do you live again? Let me dox you real fast.
I live in Milwaukee.
Is
Beautiful
that close
Milwaukee.
to Brighton, Michigan?
No.
Oh, okay, good. I just saw that Violent J is wrestling on a show there, so I thought, why is he on this podcast? Shouldn't he be in Brighton, Michigan? But those aren't close. We're getting our two things in: hot dog talk and geography.
Yeah. So where I grew up is not too far from Brighton.
Okay.
So if I was visiting my family, I would have to excuse myself from any family business to
Violent J,
go see that show.
Ryan Clancy, Cruel. Show of the year.
The new Three Musketeers they're calling
that's
them.
That's what they're all saying. Yeah, I don't have a lot going on. I just have looking up Violent J matches, so that's where my life is. Postponing the podcast to not sell a house.
Heck yeah. You're
kind of like AEW not selling the house.
Oh shit!
God,
oh my god.
I do have a question. I feel like I've misunderstood the internet today. Is everyone talking about Ring of Honor because Kerry Silkin said Tony Khan's doing a bad job? Is that the whole basis for any talk around that promotion?
Yes.
Okay.
I had to check something real fast. I am about as big as an early Ring of Honor mark as you can get. Did Kerry Silkin ever make a dime off of Ring of Honor?
Can't imagine.
That's such a
It's like
all the people to be like, you're doing a bad job, is the man that sunk like just so much money just because he wanted to watch good wrestling, which I respect, but it's hilarious.
Isn't that being successful at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's why all the talk of AEW business is so stupid, because it's like, Tony Khan's so rich, none of it ever matters. It doesn't matter one way or the other to him.
It's literally his TEW save. He may as well have just called it Tony's Elite Wrestling.
When we got TEW coming out, Sam?
TEW's coming out. We got the beta next Saturday. And then it comes out August 3rd.
We might be getting a sneak preview of Big Top or something.
Oh, yeah, we are.
We all read out our TEW saves.
Not me.
You're a hater.
I've got enough spreadsheets in my life. I don't need to play a simulator.
Now, did you never get into wrestling sims at all? No EWR, Promotion Wars, any of that?
Not really. Just like when I was a kid, I would do Like, and I played SmackDown versus Raw or whatever, I would do like that.
I remember
And
as a too old teenager, one of my friends was like, "What's in this notebook?" And it was me keeping track of who was like winning and losing, and like who was champion. And I was never so mortified in my life. I would have rather he found like a stash of porn.
Yeah.
Sasha Paul would have at least been probably respectable to him.
Yeah.
He didn't even really say anything. He just went, "Oh," and closed the book.
That's how you know you're at the point of like disgust, but it's just that, oh.
I know Tanner's a TEW hater as well, so the podcast is split on this one.
Yeah, the closest I've come is like outside of like SmackDown versus Raw. Is I've like when I was playing 2K every year, I would do associations with my friends, that kind of stuff. But
that's right.
No wrestling, no wrestling stuff.
I will sim like 3 years into the future in NBA 2K, and they'd be like, "All right, now this is my league." They've done a great job there with the My Eras. Or you can be like, "Hey, take me back to 2013. Let me see what this league looks like in 3 years."
See, I love to go in the future and like download the draft classes that people put up, because you have like actual humans uploading like draft classes with like real current 9th graders. Like they'll be like, "Here,
yeah, that should get you on a watch list, surely."
It should.
I thought they were fake names, and then like someone was telling me like, no, some of these, like most of them are fake, but some of them are real. Like, oh, they saw highlights of this guy, so they put him in the draft class of 2029. I'm like, well, that's stupid.
Oh yeah.
Especially people that are like not in the industry, people who like pay close attention to like high school scouting, especially beyond like the upcoming class of college. Like it's free. Like I used to write for a Michigan blog when I was in college, and recruitment, like one of the weirdest, skeeviest feeling things to cover ever.
A family member I won't name, as an adult with no affiliation to high school sports, will gamble on high school sports.
That's crazy.
It's actually insane. And like, because like one day
insane.
he was, I was like going to a game because like one of my friends, like little brother, like her little brother was playing, and I was going. He's like, "Oh," and he said something about the game. I was like, "Oh, who do you know there?" He's like, "No one. I just follow it." And I went, "You shouldn't. You just shouldn't."
Yeah, you shouldn't.
As
How's it been
non-American-
under high school sports?
I think just with other skeevy old men.
Okay. Well, that's
Oh,
fair.
also, it's just a ring then.
Yeah, there's no
would.
official way. I'm sure you can't go to like any, even like the real, like, you know, in the Bermuda, you know, Bahamas or whatever, where they're off the books websites. There's no way they have high school odds on there.
No.
So DraftKings and putting money on your local high school team. The American culture around like high school and college sports has always baffled me. Like as a non-American, because most of the professional sports are over here, nobody gives a shit about it unless it's like at a professional level, and even then they don't give a shit about half the sports. Yeah, but like in America, it's completely different. You've got like all the NCAA and that, and as an outsider look at it, it's like, holy shit, how much like. It's like, I suppose it could be equatable to like looking at the indies in wrestling, but it's like, even then it still doesn't compute in my brain for some reason. It's like, why is there so much investment in these college kids? It just baffles me, really.
I
suppose
thought
it's smart to
soccer.
do.
I thought soccer kids got picked up when they were like 12.
Oh, they do, but nobody gives a shit about like the academy leagues over here.
That's fair. But essentially, it's like, hey, there's 2 levels in football. There's D1, Big Ten, SEC, football, and then the NFL. So it's like, the two top leagues essentially in football.
There's like a historic precedent with like American football, because like when football was in its infancy, it grew a lot from the college game. Like a lot of innovation, and historically too, a lot of innovations around the game of football are at the college level, and then they are adapted by the pros. And that's kind of been going for 100 years.
It's also like a geographic thing where if you're in Nebraska, what team, what are you going to follow if you don't follow college football?
The Detroit Lions.
God bless. God bless. I know we're missing our like expert and historian on the subject, but would you envision the women's basketball to be in the similar situation right now, with a lot of the developments and excitement coming from, and growth coming from the college game, and will transition to the professional leagues eventually?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, definitely the boom in the college game, and how the college game has gotten a lot more competitive than it just being like UConn, Tennessee every year. For women has definitely helped expand that and help move it to the WNBA, but also I think that's also a general wave of more interest in women's sports in general.
So real. That's so real. All right. I think that kind of concludes the banter section, as we've talked about American sports for a good chunk of this opening. But let's get into what we've been watching. So, all right, let's start with you, since you're a guest. What have you been watching this past week or so?
I have been continuing my watch through of 1993 All Japan Women. I've just passed the first Dream Slam show, which was really cool to see Hokuto Kandori yet again, one of my favourite matches of all time. Although I will still prefer the second one, I think, when I get around to that one again, especially with the context leading up to it. Also watched the DPW Tag Festival over the weekend as well, when that broadcast live. And also the SCI as well. I caught the first night out of that. I haven't caught the second night of that. But of course, with the Daniel Makabe retirement match, I wasn't missing that first night for anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really been me.
Do we want to take a second in that case to talk a little bit about the SCI, since I know Chris and Dan, did you watch all of night 1 and night 2, or just...
I watched all of night 1. I have not watched any of night 2 yet.
Yeah, I watched most of night 2, but I've also seen night 1. Which phenomenal way to pay tribute to Daniel Makabe's like passion for experimental music by making the entire show a harsh noise record.
I heard it wasn't great.
Now, I don't know how big this is. It's, because we're all, it's a bubble and a bubble and a bubble, but a lot of people probably watched Daniel Makabe's match and then turned on the Prestige show because it was free on YouTube. And it's just like, how are you not embarrassed if you're, IWTV and SCI?
I will say that like night 2 was significantly better, but still had issues, especially with like echoing audio. But yeah, I could not listen to most of the show. I turned on the audio for the main event, but the rest of the show I was just listening to music while... See,
that's the exact same thing I did. I muted it after, like, at some point in the Channing Thomas match. I was like, there's nothing for me to hear on this show.
Yeah, I just ended up watching Joseph's stream of it. Thankfully, because he was streaming, he had most of the levels knocked down. I was like, from everything I've heard about it afterwards, I'm so glad he did that.
And before we get to the Makabe match, SCI, is it cooked? Are we done? I haven't watched the second night.
Would you say this is the year it's cooked?
Well, I just like nail in the coffin. It's just been so long.
I think last year was nail in the coffin.
I don't know. I guess I don't know.
Night 2 is definitely better than Night 1 was. Outside of the main event. Because most of the wrestlers that I liked in the tournament, with I'd say a notable exception.
Throw me here. Did Channing Thomas make the finals?
Channing Thomas did not make the finals.
God bless.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I had blocked out last year. Yeah, last year was the nail in the coffin. This is walking off.
I think the only thing Makabe gave this thing like one last death rattle here, just like, oh, and then it's gone.
So Tank versus Mad Dog was quite good as well.
Yeah, that was a fun match. That was definitely the highlight of the show beyond Makabe's retirement match. I thought Adam Priest versus Jaden Newman was fine for like a 5-minute match. Mikowski versus Aaron Wade was okay. But like nothing, like when the show started, and I like Rico Gonzalez a decent amount, but him versus Rob Killjoy was a rough watch. And then Channing Thomas after.
Yeah, when Channing Thomas came out, immediately following that first match, I was like, okay, go fuck yourself.
The Paul London match felt like half an hour. It was 15 minutes, which is still too long for a Paul London match, but it dragged.
Were you ever a London fan?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. I was making sure this was a specific 2024 Broken Body Paul London.
And like the Paul London thing's weird because I was a big Paul London fan, and he seems to be having a blast, and I'm very happy for him, but I do not want to watch it at all.
Yeah.
Like, he's having a hell of a time, and like so great, and like people are like all the wrestlers and promoters like are tweeting about how great it is. I'm like, yeah, but I have to watch it.
I'm here
watching it. Do it as a dark match. Have a great time. Pay him. You claim the live fans love it. I can't confirm or deny that, but it's awful to watch in 2024.
Woof.
But yeah, big like Paul London 2000s run. Love that stuff.
Gotcha. I watched the Tank match. Unfortunately, it's not as good as his match versus Nick King from St. Louis Anarchy, which I watched just previous to it, which everyone should go out and check. That match is extremely good, and Nick King had something really. He could be a not good wrestler most of the time, or at least a pedestrian wrestler most of the time. But I wouldn't know because this is the match I watched, and it was against Mad Dog, who made him fight for every inch he could get, and it rocks. So definitely watch that if you want to see Mad Dog versus maybe someone with a little bit more mobility.
Nick King also wrestled because I just put the Mad Dog Nick King match on my watch list, and Nick King also wrestles Manders at the previous St. Louis Anarchy show. So I'm gonna check in on this Nick King guy, see what he's all about.
Could be pretty good.
Match guy.
Who knows? Say he doesn't have a cage match yet?
Nope.
He does not.
Dang.
That's typical of cage match.
Cage match. What is their do people have to get added by someone? Like, how does that work?
You do. I forget the process because there was a Kaplan didn't have a cage match page for the longest time, even though he was on every AIW show.
He might have been running from the LOL or something there, though. That might have been them helping him out.
Well, same for Evolve Superstar. Dominic Guarini didn't have one for a year or two after that run.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
The crazy thing is that you'll see like rookies pop up in other promotions, and you'll get a fucking profile page like that. Like it'll just go instantly up. I suppose it probably depends on just how much investment the site operators actually have in the promotion itself.
Do you guys remember when like Silesia and NXT champion Ethan Page and stuff were caught, sneaking into America via cage match? They were stopped at the border. They were stopped at the border, and the freaking border patrol guy's like, you're on cage match. So then cage match started doing like hashtag all ego, and like you couldn't click on it. He didn't have a page anymore. Like they took it down because him and Silesia, and maybe other people, were getting slaps on the wrist, and I think Silesia got banned for years.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, she was gone.
Yeah, cage match took care of her.
Maybe Cage Match was trying to do us a favor.
I was just thinking, like, that worked out.
All Ego did it right. She, you know what? She had like a David Starr experience there afterwards. Got weirdly into bodybuilding.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I was.
Sam. Whoa. Oh my god! I was like, I did not know this.
May have caused.
That could mean a lot of things.
I don't know if you could hear me typing. I was Googling, like, what did she do? She was always so nice. Oh my god.
Sorry about that. No hate. Anywho, where the hell were we?
I don't know, maybe Daniel Makabe versus Kevin Koo?
Yeah, we were talking about that because I said I watched SCI Night 1, but not Night 2. I also watched this week one of probably the worst shows I watched this year. And God knows I love Masato Tanaka. Absolutely love Masato Tanaka. Tanaka, your 30th anniversary show is one of the worst shows I will probably watch this year. Real 01 is not that promotion. Like, I love the Team Noah stuff that they've done across the Limit Break shows, but man, I had to slog through that show. Well, had to is more.
No, Tanner's going to get on here and he's going to tell us that Tanaka versus Segura for 30-minute time limit draw was a 4-star match, and both of them are top 10 wrestlers this year.
I actually enjoyed that match. It was just
why are they doing this? Why are they doing this so much?
He will deflect with, you know what, might not be for everybody, but
I enjoyed what I saw of it. I probably didn't pay attention to half of it, which is probably why I enjoyed as much of it as I did. But
I gotta be honest, I'm looking at this card, I would definitely rather watch that match than the rest of these matches.
The card preceding it probably helps, because I had to watch had to, in quotes, had to watch a Chris Weiss and Hartley Jackson tag team, which is, God knows, probably 10-15 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
You know what? Real 01. Trash. There we go.
I can't remember the last time I have put myself through a Chris Weiss or Hartley Jackson match, so thoughts and prayers for what you had to endure.
You're honestly doing yourself a favor for not having watched a Chris Weiss or a Hartley Jackson match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not watching a ton of 0-1 in general. So hopefully,
I don't know why that really tickled me.
Hopefully
The idea of someone watching a lot of 0-1, really.
True. 0-1 or like anything he's doing in Big Japan. I am not watching like anything with Chris Weiss. Like it takes a lot. Takes a lot to get me to watch some Big Japan, and that's not the guy.
Big Japan Pro Wrestling, BJPW, for all those in the know. Let's talk about Makabe versus Kevin Koo, though. A match that I feel we're going to be talking about in December. Myself, Dan, Chris, and others.
I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee it. I mean, if we're not, this is a hell of a year for wrestling then.
Truly.
Did anyone else
Truly.
think Makabe was gonna die? Like,
He was gushing.
it was so much. I was like, this,
yeah, there was some plasma there.
It was
He's good, man. He
congealing.
definitely-
Like,
He downed some ibuprofen before this one. You could really tell.
oh, absolutely. Blood thinners and good hydration all the way.
it was really like,
Hell yeah.
not wrestling ever again. Might as well just bleed all the blood I have.
This is my last match for a long time.
And then
I'll get it back.
I hate to talk bad about a man who I'm praising his match was amazing, but having recently watched the match he had the night before, like, it's crazy how alive he was for this match. Like, that Bankston match, Darian Bankston match, no good. You don't gotta watch it. But he's moving kind of slow in it. You know, he looks like a man that's retired.
I've been told it holds itself up against any other match of the weekend.
Who told you this?
It was still in Hales.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Hey, friend of the podcast network.
Friend of the podcast.
Go listen to the episode of Psychology is Dead with Quentin, Brock, and Dylan Hales.
It's crazy that wasn't about me, right? Said thank you, Dan. I was like, this is awesome. Downloaded that sucker, put my headphones on. Real disappointed.
Ready to rock. Oh man. But anyway,
the match was awesome, actually. But you should watch the fan cam that's on YouTube if you have to choose. Not even just outside of the audio issues. I thought that if I was going to say anything bad about it, it might be the camera work of IWTV as well. But I bit on every near fall. I thought Makabe was going to die. I didn't know who was going to win, and it's 17 minutes long and it flies by.
Yeah, it really. When it got to the end, I was like kind of surprised. Like already when it got to the bleeding, I was just like, are we really this far into the match that they're starting to gush?
Oh, and then Kevin Koo's injured too. I forgot about, like, he tweeted that he's going to be gone for a while.
He worked that match hurt.
That's nuts.
it was a real capper for a career, possibly. Obviously, the kind of one takeaway is, and he said this on his stream with Joseph, and he reiterated it at SCI, the only match he'll come out of retirement for is Bryan Danielson.
I hope he has that match beyond anything else.
Did anyone watch the Nicole match? The secret match?
I have not seen it yet.
I mean, neither.
Great stuff.
Well, no, I want to know how it's on my list, but if someone here said really good, I'd move it up the list.
Yeah, it just dropped today.
Yeah.
So I was working my way through the SCI, which maybe I should have watched the matches I wanted to watch from SCI, and then watch that. But
everyone stop watching bad wrestling. Just don't do it.
That's why I haven't watched Night 2 yet.
I've heard people watching all of SCI, like wild people. I'm hearing people watching this Prestige show through its entirety, which seems bonkers to me. But I don't want to get too far into it. I want to make sure I kind of give you some room here. Where does the Makabe versus Ku match rank for you this year amongst kind of the match of the year candidates? Or does it rank, Ali?
Let me just check, because I actually have my spreadsheet open on a different monitor, so let me just see. It's definitely... I'd say it's nailed down top 10. Just on gut instinct. And to be honest, it may even get to top 5, because I'm just trying to see what else is actually on there. And there isn't much that, like, properly competes with it, like, in terms of, like, that emotional gut punch, especially. That's probably the match that comes to mind that equals my initial reaction to it, at least from what I remember, was Suri versus Chihiro from January. I remember coming away from that match with a similar feeling than I did with Makabe. So it's probably going to be up there, definitely in the conversation with that. I haven't seen the Sabre Junior match yet, but I've heard excellent things about that as well. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. So that might be up there as well.
I know the Tan Man is a big fan of that one. I have not gotten to it yet, but that's definitely on the list. That's for sure. Dan, tell me about Blackheart versus Amazing Red.
Okay, so I'm sitting here. I watched the SCI, and it's not great, but then it's amazing. Makabe, I'm like, I'm a guy. I'm watching wrestling. I'm watching wrestling all Saturday night. And then I'm like, and there's a free show on YouTube. Let's put it on. And Amazing Red and Lio Rush have the worst match I've ever seen in my entire life. It was embarrassing, and everyone should watch it.
Yeah, I'm stoked to watch that. I was supposed to watch that in a call with some friends the other night, but I was dog sitting, and it took a while for the dog's owners to get back, and it was storming, so I had to be with the dogs, calming them down. So I missed out on Amazing Red Lio Rush, which very higher than anything else that happened this week on my watch list. Like, that's going above the Kaito match or the AJ Styles Marufuji match. That's going ahead of DPW, that tag show. I need to see it. I need to see why, because we've gone on 3 days of the Discord talking about this match.
You sure it's not just Dan?
No, other people have been watching this match.
How dare you? How dare you?
Absolutely.
I would like to say last week we skipped the "What are you watching" portion, and one of the matches I wanted to talk about was Lio Rush versus MBM. It's a match from Transylvania for Romanian Pro Wrestling, and it's not going to make any end-of-year list. It's just Lio Rush, standard 15-minute Lio Rush match, a little longer than you want. But I'm like, it's so fucking cool that Lio Rush is just going to Transylvania. I'm just watching it for free on YouTube. What a world we live in. I love this. I love this for Lio Rush. I love this for wrestling. And then this happened, and I was like, what are you doing? Why? How did he come up with this Blackheart idea? How is he convincing people to pay him to do it in front of paying customers? And then Amazing Red's been in the business, freaking 20 years more? And it's just like...
Oh, 20, yeah, over 25
yeah, probably,
years.
Yeah, so it's 2024, Jesus. Probably 25, 26 years, and he's gonna sit him down in the back and be like, I have to fucking get on all fours. Oh, also, did you bring a wrench? He did? Good. Promoter says we only got 30 minutes, so let's go out there. I don't even want to talk about it too much, because I literally want everyone to watch it.
I want to comment quickly on the preview video, the hype video they play beforehand, because it frustrates me, because on one hand it's more effort than any other indie has put in towards one of these videos to an upsetting degree. It's also made the corniest thing I've ever seen. If you do anything, just watch that for 2 minutes. It'll delight you. It'll truly tickle you.
But don't worry, if you set through that match, you're like, okay, I watched that match. I'm still a fan of pro wrestling. Athena versus Masha Slamovich is a match that I, of all people, was looking forward to, and Athena thought, I'm going to fuck around for 15 minutes. I'm going to wear a boot out there and just fuck around.
Oh no, she wore the boot for that match.
She wore the boot for
I was actually kind of looking forward to that.
No, it's garbage. People are going to tell you it's good. If you saw it at a house show in 1999, you're like, what a hoot. This is fun. Hilarious. But booked as a indie dream match, it's a joke.
Yeah,
And then I
this
didn't
was-
get to watch Roderick Strong versus Timothy Thatcher because I was put off of the whole idea of wrestling at that point and went to bed.
Wow, roller coaster of a night.
I should have went to bed after Makabe coup. Would have been great.
Because after, well, no, you have been too hyped up, so like,
To the left.
you had to watch some
Maybe
dog
someone's to the
shit
left,
so you
though.
can
by
go to
the
sleep,
dresser?
okay? Because
Oh,
this
it
is
works?
this is Athena's first match in
lights are
like
left.
2 months.
Okay, there's also switches over there.
So like the fact that it was still booked was weird, and now it's just the boot and it goes 16 minutes. I guess I'm gonna have to watch this.
She
too.
wears the boot for 16 of those minutes. It comes off in the finish. I'm gonna spoil it.
Wow. But Dan, come on. Leave something to the imagination.
I mean, you don't know what happens with the boot. Who knows?
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Eats the boot. Eats the boot.
Yes.
Anyway, Prestige, not a good promotion.
They know how to use a camera and a microphone, though.
It's more than you can say than West Coast most times.
Truth. The rankings are DPW West Coast and then Prestige, unfortunately, for promotion rankings of that partnership kind of thing.
I think it's a partnership. I'm not entirely sure the exacts of it. I think it's kind of that they're doing like 3 super shows a year, like one with each of them hosting. So like they each do like their own spin on what a free promotion super show would look like. I think. What I've grasped from it, anyways, from what I've heard.
Yeah, and I know they're like pooling resources, like when they're getting wrestlers like stateside.
That's probably the most beneficial part of it.
Yeah.
Is probably like pooling resources for like the import talent.
Is Amazing Red, love Amazing Red, one of the great like early indie guys. Like he only wrestled so much. We're really getting on Washed Alert with him, right?
Oh yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
Because like he had that match with Gringo Loco at Spring Break that wasn't much good, and like I'm looking, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are really into the match he had with like Mustafa Ali or anything. It's like, which is kind of a bummer, because like for a while the rare Amazing Red match that he would work, that would still be like good, like crucial viewing, like the low-key match. And
I was gonna say, I
like,
think you have to go all the way back to the low key match though, and that's 6 years.
yeah,
ago.
I guess, yeah, post-COVID is kind of a time vortex.
'Cause
But
I
this
think
seems to be
I'm watching more Hog than your average fan, which is any Hog, and he's pretty done. Him and Brian XL, they don't have it anymore.
that is a true bummer.
Yeah.
Dang, don't that suck? Does anyone else have anything to add to what they've been watching this week?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Like I said, night 2 of the SEI was better than night 1. But still, like, Adam Priest versus Manders probably didn't live up to the hype that you would have for probably 2 top 5 indie guys of the year. It was a decent match. It was a fun, like, second round match, but you could tell that they were kind of holding back because one of them your classic like tournament issue. Like one of these guys has to work another full match in an hour, so they're not going to go all out. It looks like they booked a rematch for a show coming up, so hopefully that delivers a little bit more. The Aaron Wade Mad Dog Connolly match isn't much of anything. It's like a 5-minute match, and it never really gets into the next gear. But it's like a decent watch. I thought the final was good. That's got Priest, Tank, Mikowski, and Rico Gonzalez. So 4 of the better guys in the tournament all there. You don't have like a Channing Thomas to drag it down, and it's a fun match. It's not going to be on any, like, we're not going to be talking about that in December, but for a tournament final, 4-way, it's fun. But yeah, I haven't, like I said, I wasn't able to watch that same call that we were going to watch Leo Rush versus Amazing Red. I was gonna watch the Noah show with Marufuji AJ, and all I saw from that card before I had to leave was Kanel versus Yuji Nagata, which we then turned off because it was bad and boring.
Great reason.
That's pretty much all I watched was SCI, and then that one bad Kanel match.
The only other match I want to mention is Kenshiro Arai versus Mikiya Sasaki. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with that guy, but if you like the Gintaro match from last year, it's a lot of the same shit. It's for free on YouTube. You don't have to talk to some, random guy on Twitter. And an Iron Man match, and flew by just like the Kentaro match.
I've also just completely forgot that the Marigold show was this weekend as well. I didn't even remember it until you'd mentioned the Noah show, because that was at the same time. I think.
Oh, with Jordan Grace?
Jordan was at Sendai.
Oh, she was Sendai Girls, you're right.
Although I still need to watch that. And because I've heard the Aja tag is worth watching as well from the show beforehand, so I think that's on Wrestle Universe. I'm not entirely sure. But I remember because I know most of the attention from that Marigold show will go to the Io versus Utami match. I definitely recommend the Superfly title match between Shozuki and Misa Matsuri to anyone who kind of likes that Stardom high-speed sort of style. Because I watched that, and it was one of the better matches on the card.
Yeah, I forgot this show happened too. Until I saw a little bit of stuff about the EO match on Twitter and stuff, but we'll probably check some of that out. Sam, you watch anything else?
Just that Makoto Hashi versus Manabu Suruga match from Buten on June 27th, 2010. I say that match because it's a continuation of Buten show I was watching a couple weeks back. Tanner mentioned he's a big fan of it. I know it's pretty good. Hashi gets a lot of blood from headbutting, which is cool. But
let me ask you though, do you think it is one of the best matches of 2010?
No.
Okay, because Tanner thinks it is currently I think it's his favorite match of 2010, which I think is wild.
I don't know if it's from April 24th, 2010. I don't know if it's the third best match in that show.
See, that's why I like the match. I don't want to come off as negative the match, but like Tanner does the Tanner thing where it's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I cannot imagine watching Honda versus Oba and thinking that match is not cooler and better. I certainly cannot think watching the Nagai versus Uchida match from the April show. it's not better. But that's just me. I don't know.
And I mean, 2010. That's the year of Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. So
ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? A real masterpiece.
a true 5-star match.
If there ever was one. All right, do you want to get to our big top of the week? I'm gonna take that.
Yes.
All right. Ollie, as our guest, we've let you select the big top of the week. You gave us with some options, and we have all selected one. Now, would you like to read it for us, or would you like to?
I'll introduce it. So, in the spirit of Daniel Makabe's retirement, I thought that an interesting topic would have been to discuss the concept of like retirement roles within wrestling. Like, what's some of the best ones? What are some of the favorites? And also, like, who could potentially even like nowadays have the most interesting retirement road out of people who are active currently?
Yeah, great question.
It is really topical, even outside of like the Daniel Makabe, because obviously they're doing the big Bryan Danielson winding down run in AEW. You can currently read about Bryan Danielson's career at violentpeople.co every Monday and Friday for Wet Hot American Dragon Summer. And obviously John Cena just announced that next year is going to be his final year too, so he will have the red carpet for his retirement run.
El Hijo de Santo?
And
supposedly retiring?
Interesting.
He's got like a whole tour lined up.
Link it to me. Link any news you have on this.
Link. I mean, it's Lucha Blog.
Right now.
thecubsfan.com/CMLL. What do you want me to do?
And of course, we're going to get Onita's final match.
Is he calling that his final match?
I thought this
was
was getting booked as his like farewell.
I mean, that is
if
something
it's not
that
his
I do
match,
not
then man,
believe
it'll
at
be
all.
Dory Funk's.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Dory Funk's. If Dory Funk makes it over there on an airplane, it'll be Dory Funk's last match. But I don't buy that Onita's last match.
I still don't know how he managed to talk Dory into that. Like, he had to have guilt tripped the fuck out of him over Terry.
Well, he's doing it it's about Terry Funk's, the anniversary of his death or whatever. But actually, funny, but you said that. I'm saying I don't believe his retirement, because my first thought when I thought about this was, man, it would have been cool if like Mick Foley and Ric Flair stay retired. They would be answers to this question if they stay retired. But wrestlers can't do that.
All right, so Santa, I see the tour now.
Okay, you found it faster than me. I'm looking for it for you, but
yeah, and apparently it's going to run from end of September through March of next year somehow, which is wild.
Santa's he's gonna do it up.
But like the tour right now announced runs through end of December and then complete break until March. Doesn't make any sense to me, but what do I know? And apparently running like 12 to 20,000 seat venues, including your call. Otherwise, primarily in Mexico. So, interesting. I'll be very curious to see what he does.
I have to imagine he works Fantastic Mania in Japan next year. It's probably winding it down.
I don't think will CMLL work with him?
Oh wait, no, sorry, my brain's completely fried. I forgot for a second he wasn't in CMLL when you mentioned your call.
I'm pretty sure he's alienated himself from basically everyone in the business, even his old running buddy Blue Demon.
Yeah, not really sure what these shows are going to look like outside of him having a match of some sort. So, We'll see. We'll see. Feels like it doesn't feel like it'll pack the same punch. In the sense that, like, when Sting retired, you knew he was actually retiring. Or at least it felt like he was actually retiring. I don't know if there's a good way for... I don't know, how old is he at this point?
60.
Only 61. Okay. I don't know why I said only 61, but...
Well, luchadors don't retire because they all wrestle until they're 70. So it's just like, you just die.
Yeah, Blue Panther's 63. I don't know why I would have thought Santana was absolutely older than Blue Panther. Not the case. I'm probably taller than him, though. Which is the important bit here. Anyway, I don't know if there's a way to feel like he's actually retiring in the same way that we do with some of the bigger U.S. names. But what do I know? I feel like I might just being an idiot.
And I mean, even like Danielson, that this is retirement as full-time wrestler.
Which, like, what does that even really mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, is he gonna work like 4 pay-per-views still? Probably.
I imagine he probably works like the bigger shows.
Yeah, he worked
AEW.
I mean, he worked 29 matches last year, 33 year before that, 36 before that. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not an insane amount.
For some reason, the number 10 sticks out in my mind. Like, I think he said he wanted to restrict himself going forward to like 10 matches a year.
Oh my god, how are we talking about this and not talking about luchadors retiring? Vampiro. Triple Mania. That's crazy we got this far into it.
That would also require us to pay attention to Triple H.
That's the big one this year.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's a permanent retirement.
I love...
He should not be wrestling.
I love... I don't speak Spanish, but I have watched the clip of Pentagon agreeing to wrestle him on the podcast, where he clearly like, I'm not gonna fucking wrestle you. And then Vampiro afterwards like, hey, I don't think Pentagon's gonna wrestle me, guys. Calm down. Oh, God.
Is there any other kind of wrestlers that you're like, hey, there's a clear path here to wrap this up nice and tidy?
Yeah, just none of them retire. I just don't know what to tell you.
Yes, it feels like we just had such a string of them recently. Like, between the Sting retirement, the Makabe, Danielson saying the kind of full-time retirement business, and like John Cena announcing that he's going to be retiring next year.
The Muto retirement last year.
Oh yeah, Muto final bye-bye, yeah.
Yeah, no need to bring that back up, but yes.
Tanner just
I mean, hell of a retirement. Hell of a retirement run.
Knockout, like, that Muto final show, probably the best the Tokyo Dome has looked in a long while. Like, just from, like, a production perspective, it's definitely the best show the best looking show that's happened there since they installed that new scoreboard.
Oh yeah, great production on that show. Unfortunately, I don't have Tanner with me, but great show overall. Some would say it was one of the best shows of last year.
Some would say.
Production, match quality.
It's a shame Noah's quality isn't as good as its production is, because Noah genuinely has the best production in the world for my money.
Noah does have really good production. Like,
I wish Go Shiozaki wrestled for Noah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Like, the English commentary for Noah, I don't need.
I want to throw Mark Pickering off a bridge, but
Pickering is terrible. But like,
Stu doesn't offend me, but I can't say I really remember much about his commentary.
Preferably, I'm watching with Japanese commentary anyway, so it doesn't matter. Um, but like, yeah, as far as like camera work, as far as like ring setup, Noah is one of the best in the world for production, and I assume WWE money might help even more with that. It's just a shame about the product, like you said.
It's so hard to project who has a clear path, because it's like, yeah, if I was in charge, John Cena, one of his stops would be Wrestle Kingdom to retire Tanahashi. But like, I don't get to choose that.
Yeah,
that's another person who'll probably be going down to.
You would hope, but I don't know. I mean, I guess he's not in the G1. That's a big step.
That's crazy. Like the amount of the people who are missing the G1 this year, it's just insane. Like, it's a real like kind of, oh shit, we're past that point moment for like New Japan. It's like, I'm looking at that. I saw that first night lineup and I'm like, fucking hell. It's just unrecognizable from even like going into the pandemic, really.
Yeah, because I mean, Tanahashi has a difficult time running. Ishii is not in it this year. Okada is an American wrestler now. Ospreay's gone. So yeah,
well,
I mean,
I suppose.
Like other than Naito, and then like you still have Goto and Sonata and Evil, who are Shingo, who's been in the company for a while now. It's so much young blood comparative to any year I can think of.
I really enjoyed Tony Khan being like, not like, I guess I said earlier, don't criticize him because he's rich, so it doesn't matter, but he's just like, Ishii's gonna be here. I'm like, okay. Like, that's not really a storyline or a plan, just like, Ishii's around. I was like, alright, cool.
Yeah, just hanging
that's
out.
A lot of AEW, like with their international talents.
They're just like, here they are.
Yeah, Tanahashi is one you can see having a retirement match or retirement run when he wants to call it quits. But at the same time, he could just be a wrestler like Fujiwara is still wrestling. So you can see Tanahashi taking that route as well.
Wasn't the rumor that he was going to announce his retirement at the 2020 Wrestle Kingdom, like after his match? Like he didn't want to upstage Liger or something. Pretty sure I remember hearing that around the time.
I feel like there have been Tanahashi retirement rumors in the past, and 2020 makes sense, but I've never given it much credence because it just seems like I was kind of shocked that he wasn't in the G1, because you just think he's going to do it regardless, even though he probably shouldn't. He's not capable of working that schedule with everything going on with him, but he just does it. He just does the G1.
I looked this up because I rattled off those Danielson's numbers. I wanted to see something. Tanahashi this year 54, last year 98, year before that 126, year before that 121. He doesn't care if his body can't do it. He's just gonna roll his own carcass out there.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wrestles a lot during the G1 tour still.
He will.
Yeah.
He'll be on undercards and stuff. So it's still star power, does.
I also wonder how much it is now that he's like officially in a leadership role. Like, is it the Masawa thing where it's like, does he not trust that they can draw without him?
Mm-hmm.
Will he retire because can he see New Japan without himself around?
I think the biggest like omission for me with the G1 this year is actually Yano. Like with how like New Japan likes to use Yano as like a night off for the people in his block. Like I'm genuinely surprised he's not in there still, because like the Yano match, it's very much you do your Yano bit. low blow, ball shot, air cheating, like that. You can. It's almost like Suzuki, where you can do that for a lot longer than a lot of like the more high impact matches that the G1 demands.
So going the other way, outside of Sting this year, Makabe, what are the well done retirements in wrestling history?
Like I mentioned, Muto's.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. Like the way they built it, and then like his final run at the start of 2023, leading up to that show, with the Nakamura match and all that. Really well, really well done. Like, other than that, it's like, yeah, Ric Flair could have had a great retirement, but he didn't. Or like a Mick Foley. You just think of all the guys who retired and then just came back.
Yeah. I'm so glad that Kobashi hasn't come back.
Oh, that's a good
that is
Yeah.
like,
Final Burning did a good job, yeah.
Final Burning's like the perfect retirement. Like in that tag match context, that's like the perfect retirement for me.
That probably is like the pinnacle of the genre, is Final Burning.
Yeah. In terms of like the retirement roads, I'd say Akira Hokuto's like one in All Japan Women's was really well done as well. I think that was like a year where they were just going through like various different dream matches and such. Because I think the Kandori series was actually part of that, if I remember rightly. I think she announces in like early '93 that she's retiring.
But speaking of the wrestlers coming back, I'm really glad that Shawn Michaels came back and had like a shit match that like even WWE stands can't pretend is good. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that maybe the funniest like comeback for no reason is Shawn taking the Saudi Arabia show money and just having that match. Oh, woof.
That was like because the WWE fans will pretend like the Mania 26 match is like this great legendary.
Oh
match.
The end of the era.
Yeah.
And hell, about 10 years I'd have probably told you the same because I was the biggest Shawn fan growing up as a kid. As horrible as that feels to admit now, but I was a massive Shawn Michaels fan as a kid, so like seeing that like growing up with it, it's like I'd have probably told you for the longest time that was my favourite. But the fact that he went back and like tarnished it with that, not even like just with it being a Saudi thing, but a Saudi match that was just absolutely terrible. Like, it does the heart some good.
Well, you know it's bad because WWE will they will try to like legitimize anything. They will, cut them like they're good at it. It's like a compliment. They can make a video package to make anything look legendary. And with that match, they just went, "Whoa, we fucked up."
Yeah, they might kind of acknowledge it in the way that, like, hey, Shawn Michaels came back, but let's not talk about for one night only. Hey, remember that, but not talk about anything about the match itself and the return because it was such a legendary, just a wet fart.
Now this is a weird shout, but JBL the year before that, when he loses the Ray in like 10 seconds and then quits.
Oh, I kind of love that.
I think he came back for a Rumble, but like I'm gonna count that as his retirement. I think that's a cool way to retire.
Rumbles don't count.
Yeah, like
the best part is
like he gets
JBL got retired by Rey Mysterio twice because that's who he loses to in 06 as well when he transitions.
Oh, that's
when he transitions to commentary.
That's very funny. Good guy, great politics guy too.
On the topic of really good retirements, I've just remembered about this because I was thinking about like stuff that I was writing. Kyoko Kimura's her last show is brilliant. Because it's like she runs like a produce show, and her last 2 matches are a 6-man where she teams with Anna and her husband against Minoru Suzuki, Aja Kong, and Meiko Satomura in a 6-person. And then immediately after, I think it's immediately after, like later in the show, she has a singles against Hana. Quick little plug, I wrote about that in my piece this year, remembering Hana Kimura on violentpeople.co.
Great plug. Well done.
But yeah, that match, it's absolutely beautiful, really. Because like a lot of it revolves around like her almost like protecting Hana, and then like you get the singles between them where Hana just like giving it her all like try to kick her ass and that. Because I think Hana was only like 1 or 2 years into wrestling herself at that point, so it was like a really nice little moment that the two of them got to have together.
No, you know what's a terrible retirement run?
Give it to me.
The Kurt Angle retirement run from 5 years ago. Finishing off your career losing to Baron Corbin in 6 minutes on a WrestleMania undercard.
I still don't know how they didn't just give that to Cena.
That's wild. They really didn't give him anything here.
Yeah, it's mostly Baron Corbin. He wrestles like Chad Gable and Samoa Joe, but it's a lot of otherwise like 3-minute matches that he goes over, and he's feuding with Baron Corbin, and it's like that's the guy you have him pass the torch to.
I forget, is it that run, or is it like the little run he has just before that where him and Drew redo the TNA match they had where Drew taps him out with the ankle lock? I for some reason I have a memory of them doing that like on a Raw in the UK, if I'm remembering right.
Like he faces Chad Gable and Joe during that ending stretch.
And
Styles.
That McIntyre match is tail end of 2018, so right before. I don't know if he had announced his retirement yet, but
yeah,
that's right on the cusp.
Sure.
What's so great is
you know what?
They don't even do anything with Corbin after that. Like, did I forget a Corbin run? So I start going through, like, no. Like, later that month, he does lose the AJ for the title, or lose the Seth for the title, like, on Raw or something. But then, like, he just loses. Like, it's not like they strapped a rocket to him. It's just like, hey, you beat Kurt Angle.
Yeah, it does nothing for him.
That's so funny.
They don't even talk about, like, that now with Corbin, do they? Like, usually something like that, you'd at least get it a mention on commentary every now and then.
Well, what are you going to do? Mention it on commentary and then have him lose the Angelo Dawkins?
I mean, shit, do real logic, that'd be a way to put Dawkins over.
Yes. Oh, man, Baron Corbin. Oh, this is 3 months ago. He's not wrestling much. Okay, he lost to Lexus King.
Oh my god.
Who?
You don't know Lexus King?
Guy.
You're not a, what is it?
You're not a registered Lex offender?
There it is. Thank you, Ollie.
Don't say that. I hated that. Registered Lex offender?
Lexus.
I briefly thought
Lexus
Silesia
King
was a Lex offender. I had to look it up.
Do they say that on TV?
I don't know if they ever really did.
Fucking hope not.
I hope not too. But you have me questioning a lot of things. The fact that that's even a thing to say.
They're in Florida. That's all I'm saying.
They are in Florida. They don't
but
have to announce it.
For Sam, Lexus King is the former Brian Pillman Jr.
God damn it. What a world. I don't like anything I just heard actually over the past 2 minutes. And I wish I could unlearn most of it.
Will we did want to talk a little bit about like the worst retirement runs, and that stood out in my mind as the worst.
It would be the best retirement run if Brian Pillman Jr. did retire immediately.
Baron Corbin could have beat him for it. I don't know if this
Hell
counts
yeah.
as like a retirement because who knows if he'll ever wrestle again. Carino, that Colby match is a pretty cool last match if he never wrestles again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to think with most wrestlers, they just keep going, so like their last match ends up being like some random tag match.
Oh my
They
Lord.
don't know it's their last match.
Yeah, they don't know when they're walking out there. It's just like, oh.
Speaking of some random tag match, Terry Funk's last match was teaming with the Rock and Roll Express against Brian Christopher, Doug Gilbert, and Jerry Lawler in 2017.
Yeah, I bet that rocks.
And the best part is they ran that match on back-to-back nights. On the first night, it ended in a DQ in 17 minutes. On the second night, it ended clean in 10.
That's awesome.
They were tired, all right? Oh, and they had to travel, too. It's not even the same place. Those boys had to do that match, drink, drive drunk all the way to South Carolina, and then wrestle again.
You're not getting 10 minutes.
Not just name dudes, but someone that still is great, but is probably getting towards the end where one day their bodies will skip out. I hope they get a proper retirement run before that, and you know what? Just let them book it themselves. Dustin Rhodes. I think at 55, he's got a lot of years in that body, and I just don't know if I don't know if he's got it in him for another 5.
See, that scares me because he strikes me as a guy that we're going to see him face, Private Party in a tag match or something, and then we find out later that was his last match.
I know he said last year that 2023 was supposed to be his last year in wrestling, and then
Really?
as wrestlers do, reneged on that. But it wouldn't shock me if he does like half a year in AEW, then half a year in WWE, just so that he can do the Cody match in WWE.
I don't know that WWE books that match. I don't think they can see Cody at that level, or Dustin at that level, now they have Cody so high.
Yeah, Cody is kind of at that like top tier now, isn't he? Where
I mean, I would love it. That'd be awesome.
But I think Cody at least has enough sway that it's something he would want to do.
Well, they've always wanted the Mania match, haven't they?
Yeah,
so, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me to see like Cody if he loses the title before Mania, which I don't think he will. Like eliminated from the Rumble by Dustin, and then that sets up a singles at Mania.
Because like I know Dustin is a guy who, for basically his entire career, he's been largely for people like us, undercard and mid cards, and putting in the work that way. But like with like how over Cody is, and like the history of like the Rhodes brothers tagging and never getting that match, I like with WWE as it is now, you can definitely see a path to it now more than you could a year ago. And speaking of WWE wrestlers, like, and who you would maybe hope had like a WWE finishing run and maybe had a like handful of handpick matches after that, whenever AJ Styles decides to call it quits.
I'm gonna be so sad when AJ calls it quits.
Yeah,
He's yoked up right now, let me tell you.
That boy's eating all the tromboloni sandwiches and chicken and asparagus.
I don't want to get too dark, but I mean, he's pretty yoked up for a 47-year-old. He better get these last matches in.
yeah.
Speaking of just naming guys, do you guys know who Jerry Lawler's last match was against? I'm assuming he's not going to wrestle anymore.
Tommy Dreamer?
Beer City Bruiser.
Beer City Bruiser?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lawler went over because he's a fucking.
Of
rock star.
course.
I
Love the
looked
Bruiser.
up that tag match. That was Terry Funk's last match, and I was like, "What's Lawler's last match?" I'm like, of course.
What a great last few matches here. You also got Eric Redbeard in there for Lawler. What a time to be alive.
Let's see, what's Tommy Dreamer's most recent match? Because there ain't no way he's having a last match anytime soon. As long as he can walk, anyways.
No, not till the day he shoots Paul Heyman and himself.
Is it like a Jim Cornette scenario where Dreamer's just going to stay alive long enough to piss on Paul Heyman's grave for stiffing him for all those years?
Oh my god! Oh, his last match. We all know this one.
Oh my word! I'm just seeing that
Was
myself.
it the Mania weekend match?
No, this last week he was in Germany.
What?
Big Morgan Shade versus Tommy Dreamer and William Wolf.
We
wait,
all know this
wait,
one.
He was in France.
Tommy's got
Sorry,
a
not
working
Germany.
passport.
Tommy Dreamer has a working passport, apparently.
TNA is a global company. He's got to be globe trotting to keep them.
He's wrestled 6
Running.
times since Mania weekend
Yeah, he is still in TNA, isn't he?
in 3 different countries. What's happening?
ECW's a draw.
Good for them. Good for them.
Tommy Dreamer retirement run. He's working a different ECW guy every time. They all suck. They're all on shitty nostalgia shows. I would love it. I would watch.
I would say I'm making
every
fun of
one
it,
those
but I
matches.
need Raven to go over Tommy Dreamer in Dreamer's retirement
Oh,
match.
fuck yeah. Of
Like,
course.
that
That
rules,
has to
right?
be it. That has
Yeah.
to be it.
If he ever retired, like that would be the match. It's got to be Raven.
Oh my god, now I pulled up Ravens because I knew he had the War Chamber match. That is his last match as of right now. But more importantly, I see back in 2018, because he hasn't had wrestled much since then, Raven beat AC Mack in 3 seconds.
Jeez.
Raven's
Goat
one of the
kick.
best wrestlers of all time. That's awesome.
Goat kick, even flow, 1, 2, 3.
Damn, I've really gotten stuck now into the Battleground Championship Wrestling situation. Since that's where the Dreamer Onita.
Or wait, who's the guy who wrestles all of the ECW legends?
Oh, one man
and-
crew.
Yeah, one man crew. If it's not
Hell
Raven,
yeah.
it's got to be one man crew.
We had James Storm versus Jake Hager here in July.
Now say James
so-
Storm, he's still going strong.
He's still going strong. And Lucky 13 versus Drake Younger. This promotion is really, really hot right now. Let me tell you.
Lucky 13,
Yeah.
his body is ridiculous. He's ripped for some reason. I don't know if you watch it
Juice brother.
2024, but
Lucky
Lucky 13.
I bet I want to watch it when he was getting real bookings.
Now, I don't know why I'm bringing this up. Battleground Championship Wrestling is also a promotion out of Winfield, West Virginia that runs out of a dance studio / haunted house, and it's a really cool company. People should check it out.
Nice. You wanna know what Monty Brown's last wrestling match
That's
ever
going to
is?
really make
'Cause
me sad.
It's gonna be something depressing. What is it?
It's losing to CM Punk in the ECW World Heavyweight Title Tournament that finishes at Vengeance 2007.
Oh.
So technically, if I'm right, Monty Brown's career finishes before Chris Benoit's.
Hell yeah!
Wait, let me check the dates on that.
Oh,
On the same
on the
fucking
same
show.
they had the
Oh
same
my
retirement.
god!
But
That's
actually, the
good
Punk
as
match went
hell.
on last.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so Monty Brown he's got Benoit beat by about 30 minutes.
Oh, if I can go for that. That's another guy. I know, like, there's extenuating circumstances regarding Monty Brown's retirement, but man, I'd love to see Monty Brown just have a little run again.
I don't know why. I thought you were about to go like positive on Chris Benoit. I was like, this is crazy. On a show
No.
with crazy takes, this is crazy.
I'd like to see Chris Benoit make one more run.
I thought you were like, I wish he would have got his retirement. I was like, oh my god.
Booked it himself.
Okay, now.
All right. Sam, if that doesn't end the segment, I don't know what does.
Sorry, I mean some Mike and Ikes.
I would have choked.
Very blast, baby. Very blast, baby. Time for the Wacky Line.
Let's do it.
Hit the music.
Oh my god. Oh no, I almost opened YouTube for all of us.
Why do Big Top and Wacky Line have the same?
Because I don't pay for Nitro, man. I'm not like you guys. I'm not full of sounds. Would you rather be this? That seems bad. I don't want that. This is like insulting our listeners.
We would never insult our listeners.
Okay, I
On
was
the
like,
show.
who's laughing like that? They're off the show.
Our little piggies here listening to Violent People Radio.
Tanner loves the piggies. They're one of the 70 wrestlers in his top 10. No.
Hell yeah. All right, let me pull up some first questions. I'm going to ignore Tanner's question for now. But from Justice Herbert Waddy, for the haters, who is the worst wrestler in the world in 2023? Will they be the worst wrestler in the world in 2024? My unfortunate answer was, I try to avoid bad wrestling to the point I don't watch enough bad wrestlers to really get a grasp of who sucks the most. But based on everyone's track record here, I don't expect that to be the case for you individuals.
No, unfortunately, like everyone in the Discord immediately stole my answer when it was asked. MJF, and yes, he will be the worst wrestler going forward. He has surpassed my hatred for watching MJF in the ring has surpassed my hatred for Seth Rollins, my hatred for Blake Christian, any of like those types of wrestlers. I'm like, can't even get a 3-star match with Hechicero. Like, anyone in this call could have a 3-star match with Hechicero.
That's where Tanner is right now. Secret
shit.
match.
That's why it's good.
Yeah, they're wrestling. They're wrestling at Epcot Center right now.
Now, the thing is, that is probably the answer, but you shouted out what I think I want to say, but I want to say that not everyone, a large group of people know MJF sucks. Blake Christian's kind of a joke. Jey Uso's a good answer, but like Quentin is like, he's making sure we all know how bad he is. But like Seth Rollins, if you are on the internet or at shows or just people think this guy is legitimately one of the best in the world. And that's like, so like maybe that's not the answer to the question. Maybe it's the answer to the who has the biggest gap to their reputation, to what they're actually putting on the screen. But I fucking hate watching Seth Rollins wrestle.
Oh yeah, I like one of the great joys in my life watching wrestling this year was him coming out with a torn MCL or whatever he tore in the main event of WrestleMania, just so he could get bitched out by the actual important wrestlers, not even get offense on a single Uso, and just leave.
He had to
sad.
He had to put his old gear on, and did he dye his hair?
Yeah,
Yeah, he dyed his
yeah, he
hair.
did his hair, yeah.
I've done like shitty things at jobs. Like I've done humiliating things at jobs, but it's like, hey, before you come in and we make you look like a piece of shit, dye your hair. Like that's where I'm like, no.
It'll make you look like a human sacrifice real quick.
Like that match in general is one of the, like, beyond thinking about the match itself, like which I don't like thinking about the match itself, but like politically, everything in that wrestling main event is like fascinating to think about. Of like who gets offense on whom, and like the run-ins and the hierarchy, and just political machinations running.
It'll never happen because Rock's like a CEO in TK or whatever it is. Now, I would love for there just to be an expose of that entire Road to WrestleMania at some point. Because some fucked up political shit had to be going on behind the scenes. Like, a bunch of arguments, shit getting thrown at people. Like, you just know people had to be pissed off so much going across that.
The fact that the documentary for that WrestleMania got delayed like 3 months.
I'm pretty sure, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, they announced it at least 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what's so great about it too, is like it's not like we always plan for it to take a long time. They multiple times were like, next week, and then someone saw a cut and said, fuck no.
Yeah, Dwayne's got to get final cut.
Oh my god. And then like I'm looking it up, like the main event of that WrestleMania night 1, the tag match that went 45 minutes, 4 stars.
Oh my god, the tag match where he comes out with his own belt because he feels inadequate because Roman has his.
Yeah, Roman has a belt and Seth had a belt, right? So he's like, I got one too.
I got one too. Haha, Cody, dumbass. You got your weight belt. Oh god. On the topic though of the question, there's a visceral gut part of me that wants to say Will Ospreay. Most people who have known me or have seen me post will know that like Will Ospreay is probably the answer I should default to with this. But if I'm giving a legitimate answer, it's probably Moose. Like, I was willing to give TNA a chance with the rebrand. Like, until that main event. I was like, alright, I'll give it a shot, whatever, growing pains. They give the belt to Moose, I'm like, fuck this company. Fucking goddamn it, TNA! You had one chance and you blew it.
They love strapping up Moose.
They do.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate Moose.
He's just boring to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's a little boring. I'm not gonna, like, talk him up, but I don't know.
Honestly, like, I don't think... We had that question about Ethan Page possibly being the most 5 out of 10 wrestler of all time. And I couldn't think of who actually was. It might be Moose, for me.
I'd say Moose is a 3 out of 10 carried by a 7 out of 10 look.
That's fair.
Alright, we got any more wacky lines, Sam?
Alright, yeah. So, it's kind of... There's 2 questions here, but we'll just do one. From Eamon. You guys have mentioned before about being very aware of the fact that there's people in their late teens, early 20s in the Discord. Was there ever a point where you became particularly aware of there being a younger generation of fans getting into independent and international wrestling coming through after you?
This is really
Dan,
embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. Can you repeat the question?
Okay. You guys have mentioned before about being very aware of the fact that there's people in their late teens, early 20s in the Violent People Discord. Was there ever a point where you became particularly aware of there being a younger generation of fans getting into independent and international wrestling coming through after you? Eamon gives the example. For me, it was going to redacted shows in Ireland and England and seeing fans in their early 20s who hadn't watched 2000 Indies and loved Shoyden Fraud.
That is a good question. Even better a second time.
For me, it's not so much like And I'm speaking like specifically in the Discord and stuff like that for this answer, because it's not so much wrestling, because like there's like a lot of the people in the Discord, on Twitter and beyond, whoever I'm interacting with, like even if they're younger, they tend to be watching a decent amount of like older stuff that, or just wrestling in general, that I also have an interest in. So that doesn't come up so much as like just people not having seen a match that I've seen. It's more just like when there's a reference to like some ancient wrestling Twitter lore, and nobody except the old heads like know what the situation was. Like when we had to explain to people on the Discord for the first time what like the Abby Arthur saga was, like that was my god. I've been dedicating my life to wrestling and Discord.
That's so funny because something popped in my head is when Tanner and Quentin were on Tanner's Twitch going over Big Lav, and everyone's like, "What is this?" Like, well, I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? We all know what this is.
Everyone knows Big Lav.
Yeah, I think the Big Lav one is a really particularly cutting one for me. I was like, how do we not know who Parv is? How have we gotten this far as a wrestling group to at least not have a reference to some of our main characters? And also realizing, going back through all like the old PWO, even like somewhat the WKO stuff, I was like, oh, there are main characters referenced here that are not in this season anymore. That we are in season 13 of 20 of Grey's Anatomy, and okay, some characters are just gone, but you might just hear about them every once in a while. And that's when I really kind of sunk in, like, oh shit, we're in the middle now. We're in the trenches. We know people on both sides of this.
This is really like specific, but I remember Jody Fleisch coming over to AIW probably 2016, 2017, and only I was like, this is fucking cool. Like, no one around me knew who he was, and I was like, you guys didn't watch those Johnny Storm matches that just happened yesterday?
Yeah.
They just happened, right? And it's like, that was over a decade ago, and it's like, holy shit. That's just man. That's the only one I can think of, like, in person, being like, looking around and being like, is it me? Am I the problem?
Alright, you are in that next group that we're.
I am in that next group, but even I've had like stuff like that with less so like with like indie wrestling circles, because I'm more like in the Joshi side of things. But like even seeing stuff like within the community, like people like missing references that not even like were pre-pandemic, but like stuff that was like being referenced, like, and jokes that were being referenced like during the pandemic, just completely going over people's heads. It's like the Squidward meme where he's kind of looking around like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what the fuck happened? Time is a flat circle and all of a sudden I'm the old head in this? But it's like, it's quite funny to listen to you go through a few of those things, because I'm just like sat there thinking like, do I know this? And then the Big Lav thing, I'm like, that stream was actually the first time I'd ever heard of Big Lav. Because I was that I'm like, oh, that generation that just missed out on like the forum era. Like, my first exposure, like, just properly discussing wrestling, I was probably around like Squared Circle. So I missed like all of those like kind of main characters from there. But it's always interesting like hearing stuff like that from other people and getting like perspectives of that.
For sure. And I will say I have a more appreciation for the folks that are coming up now. Because you know what? I was very dumb and just like, I guess like there's no young people doing this anymore. Because Twitter has become such a nightmarish situation that it's impossible to see like who's talking about anything, and also really understanding who these people are that will occasionally pop up on my feed every like other month. But the Discord has been super helpful. Like, oh, there's a community of these people of youngsters digging into the wrestling. That's amazing. I can now feel vastly in over my head with a whole new group of people. It's great stuff. Okay. Did anyone else have anything to add for feeling old?
I'm gonna loop it back to the banter. There's like a point that I think comes in every man's life where you're screaming at college football and you stop and you realize, well, that's basically a child. Like, that's a man, almost half my age, that I'm cursing out that I don't know. I don't know this child that's running with a football, and I'm screaming derogatory things at him.
That's very real. That's very real. All right. Do we want to answer Tanner's question, or do we do it?
No, I think we just all dislike Tanner, and that's fine.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of the episode, right?
Yeah, I think so. He won't listen to this, right? Like,
he will.
You think so?
Are you sure?
He listened last time.
Oh, he did? Okay, I thought he didn't.
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Chris is still not listening to that.
Oh, in that case, we all love Tanner. He's great. It's great when he talks about hot dogs.
We're always talking about hot dogs here on My People Radio. That's what we're always talking about.
We had an opportunity to not talk about hot dogs, and we still took that path.
We talked about him twice.
I blew it. Now, every time I get in from this mic, I have, unfortunately, a desire to talk about the dogs. And not from Georgia and their reckless driving habits. All right. Ollie, give us some plugs. Where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me mostly on Twitter, twitter.com, at Dweebillo, that is DWEBYLLO. I also do some writing for Violent People occasionally. I also, along with my co-editor, No More Creatives, have done some writing on our own site, which is, let me just look this up before I botch the site name. It is videobuffetpro.wordpress.com or at videobuffetpro on Twitter. I also occasionally stream on Twitch. You can catch me at Twitch, at Dweebillo on Twitch. I'm quite good with consistent branding in terms of that. I am also open for commissions for graphic design if anybody needs it. As the guy said, I designed the Violent People logo. I've also...
you fucking killed it, by the way. I don't think I've actually told you that. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I love that logo.
Yeah. I also just been scratching a creative itch, really, doing a bunch of designs. Somehow I, like Kendrick Lamar, went back in 24 hours last week. Did a Mariah May design legitimately from the close of Dynamite to posting it. I don't think I slept, and I'd already been up like 2 or 3 hours at that point. Anyway, and then I also somehow shot out a design for Daniel Makabe's retirement that I seriously wish I'd got done. I seriously wish I'd thought of the idea a couple of weeks earlier, because I'd have loved to have seen him like potentially sell it or something. It was I don't know how familiar anyone in the call is with Alan Partridge, but it's there's a comedian in the UK called Steve Coogan, and Alan Partridge is one of his like characters that he does, and so like it was kind of a spoof on one of his quotes that I put out there and that as well. But yeah, open to graphic design commissions. My DMs are open if anybody wants to kind of get in touch with anything that's like any real graphic design needs, whether it's like a shirt, banner, or whatever. Just get in touch.
Amazing. Everyone absolutely go do that. Dan.
The usual, you can find me on Twitter at Dan Rice VP. I am going to say, this is crazy, I've bit myself in the ass before. You're going to see a Rotten Rewatch go up this week, people. This week.
Is it finished?
It is finished. It's not on the site, but it is in my Google Docs, ready to be put on the site. But I think tomorrow we're probably going to have Wet Hot American Summers we missed today, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
By the time people hear this.
Oh, today. Sorry, today. Yeah. So maybe Wednesday or Thursday you'll see it, guys.
You know what? Who knows? When's this episode going live?
Tuesday, or like late Monday night, early Tuesday morning.
Fair enough. Okay. Chris.
As always, follow me at Fight Haskins on Twitter. Go to violentpeople.co and read all the good stuff being posted there. Follow us on Twitch. I haven't circled a night yet, but I'm hoping to maybe do something on the Twitch later this week. I kind of put a call out to the other guys in the chat to see if they wanted to join in. And we'll see, like, if it's a solo stream or with some buddies, we'll figure that out. And when I have more details on that, I'll advertise it. And because that was really fun when we did that, and I want to do it again.
Hell yeah. I will not re-say the website again, but check out our podcasts. That would be incredible. Quinn and Tim have been doing a great job, but we also have That Psychology is Dead, focusing on the career and kind of what he's meant of Daniel Makabe. And honestly, I would go subscribe to them, subscribe to us, and leave us a review on iTunes. That would be incredible. 5 stars, write some words, helps with the algorithm, all that jazz. Feel free to leave a donation so we can help keep the site running smoothly. And join the Discord. I don't know who would be listening to this that isn't already in the Discord, but it's a great community of people, 200 plus people, and only like 5 of them are genuinely weird. So, like, that's a great ratio, I think, for any community of the size.
I literally have just like one person, and he knows who he is.
I'm sorry.
That's great.
I'm sorry.
Let's not call out Kristen the call. And
I feel how I feel. I feel how I feel.
I think it's good for being on. Again, go follow him on Twitter and commission something from him because he does amazing work. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for listening, and we will be back again next week with Tanner.
Ugh.
Keep it in.